and I wanted to shift to one that I didn't have prepared, but that the comrades from the Fine Arts Revolution asked us to pull up. This was a protest that was done in Minnesota. We don't want to mention the organizers because we have folks in our institute from these organizations, but uh,
Yeah. Okay.
a series of organizers went to a Starbucks and basically were reading off a script, having letting the workers know the current situation and the complicity of Starbucks with this. So let's watch some of this, and then I want to break it down and show you some of the comments from a couple comrades that I think they might still be in the audience. One of which is the excellent group of artists, the Fine Arts Revolution, and the other of whom is Marius. Unless Marius doesn't want me to show his comment, I haven't gotten his consent yet. So if you're in the chat, Marius, let me know if it's okay. But let's listen in for a little bit.
As you obviously know, there's a genocide going on in Gaza, and over 14,000 people have been killed in the last 47 days. 6,000 of these have been children.
You probably also know Starbucks issued a lawsuit against Starbucks workers, united in union, just because they put out a statement in solidarity with the Palestinians as bombs are raining down on their civilians. We're distraught by that and we want to express solidarity with Starbucks workers, whether you're unionized or not.
Did you know that Starbucks former owner Howard Schultz, whose net worth is worth $3.3 billion, that's sick, by the way, and who continues to benefit from his time at Starbucks, even though he sold the company, was one of the biggest individual donors to the Israeli military? Money that he earned off the backs of employees like you went to drop bombs on kids in Palestine.
It's because of this that we all are gathered here today. We want to express deep solidarity with all the workers. We want to do what we can to end complicity with Israel as it illegally occupies Palestine. I hope that you will all unionize, and so I'd like to order end the genocide, please.
I appreciate it. I understand, but at least my message was heard, so I appreciate your time, and if you're willing to accept, I have a tip for you.
So that was the protest, and I have a question, Danny. I have a question. I'm going to pull up here what I shared on my story. Somewhat cynically here. Let's annoy the increasingly self-organized workers at Starbucks and call it an effective ceasefire protest.
Yeah, there was. Oh, you keep going. My bad. You keep going.
Here's the more serious reflection that I did. There's a couple others that we have to get to, but only by getting more people on our side can our power be enough to get our government to stop funding and equipping this genocide. Do y'all think we bring more working people to the cause by annoying them at their workplace? As we've said before, not all protests are equal. Who are you being an inconvenience for? The elite funding the war on the Palestinian, on the working people, the elite funding the war, or the working people that are the natural allies of the Palestinian forces? Without the people, we are powerless. Let's stop alienating them with childish protests like this, which objectively help the cause of those trying to sustain the genocidal war in Gaza. Like, these people aren't protesting outside of the owners from Starbucks. Their whole protest is just an inconvenience for the workers there. And we have to bring this to attention because it's not just one separate event. There's been quite a few of these protests that, what's going on here? Are you trying to win people or alienate them? If you're trying to win people, then realize that your protests are always rooted in being an inconvenience for someone. Have that inconvenience be for the elite, the people funding this genocide, the people whose material interest is aligned with the genocidal war against the Palestinian people. Why are you doing protests that are inconvenience for working people instead of winning them over? If you told me, it's one person, you get people to go to different Starbucks, and it's one person. They go and they very casually talk to one of the Starbucks workers, and if it's done smarter, if it's done organically, but excuse me, a lot of these are activists that maybe they don't know what they're doing, but they're just reading off a script, man. If you're the person getting their order, and 10 of these cats have just passed by the drive-through, which I don't know if they have the little time thing that like Burger King does, where they time you and then they penalize you if you don't get them out quick enough. But if you're trying to work, most of the people don't want to be there, and you got these cats coming in and reading off a script to you. Is that going to convince them to join the side of the Palestinians? Is that even going to convince them to be more militant in their struggle against their boss? Is that going to convince them to like the socialists, which should be the people that get these trade union struggles and elevate them to socialist class consciousness, that give them the conditions for being political struggles and not just direct economic struggles? No. I think it's counterproductive, and it's a shame that the organization that put it up, I think it's something that they're better than. I feel like it's something that if it was ran through the higher ups, it should have been snipped.
What organization?
It's.
Oh, we'll talk. My bad. We'll talk off camera. Yeah. That was bizarre. That was bizarre. I was like, because at first I thought it was like a legit protest. At one point I was like, is this a mockumentary? Like, is they because like reading off the script like that, it's almost like canvassing. It's not a sincerity. It was a certain sincerity kind of lagging. Kind of a know-it-allness barking down to a worker who after taxes is making $7.50. I mean, yeah, that's extremely embarrassing and alienating.
It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. I wanted to pull up here the comments from the comrades from the Fine Arts Revolution. Let me see if I can find them. Okay, here they are. Share screen. We got to get something akin to Joe Rogan's Jamie. Jamie, pull up the video. Jamie, pull up the Fine Arts Revolution Instagram story. So here the comrades say, unless the owner of the franchise is somehow on the other line, all this does is annoy service workers. Protesting is great. Protesting companies that are financially connected to the apartheid is great. But this is not great. The form, and I love this part, the form of your protest is how you are protesting. The content of your protest is what you're protesting and why. This is perfect dialectics. These two things have to align. In this instance, you need to look up who owns that specific store franchise and go directly to their house. This information is all public. This isn't raising awareness any more than doing it at their house. It actively harms the movement and will not win over any potential comrades. All it does is assuage egos and lull people into a false sense of accomplishment. Beautifully said. Yeah, Danny, I sent you the organization. It seems like you're in disbelief too. And what it shows is, and I was talking with some comrades about this. If this was known by the higher ups and it wasn't snipped, there's something wrong in their Marxism. But if this wasn't known by the higher ups, then there's something wrong in their management of a democratic centralist communist party. So either way, there's something wrong. Either the party's not functioning correctly because it didn't know that this was going to happen, or the leadership knew that this was going to happen and didn't automatically instinctually see how ridiculous and counterproductive it was, which is, either way, it's not a pretty situation for the party in question. But yeah, thank you so much for those comments. I haven't heard back from Marius in the chat, so I don't want to be sharing his story without his consent. But we got to be smart, folks. It's not all just theory and political analysis. There's something called tactics, understanding what are the best tactics to achieve our strategic ends. And you can't answer that by going back to a book. You know, you need to have a certain feel for things. You're trying to win people. You don't win people by annoying them. And trust me, when you got 10 people, 15 people going back to back to back to back in a drive-through, reading the same or a similar fucking script, the last thing the person on the other line is going to want is to be on your side. The last thing, they might hate what's going on, but if going to a protest means being next to people like you, they're going to think twice before they go. And that's unfortunate. Don't be that way. Learn from it. I think it's a mistake. Um, I don't want to take it to the point of condemning these people. Maybe they don't understand what was going on, but please, please do not do these sorts of protests that just alienate more working people and make you look ridiculous. Like the archetype of what the left is that was created by the right and, frankly, promoted by imperialist institutions and major capitalist foundations to deform the left and disconnect it completely from working people.
So, did I hear correctly that the woman said, "If you do this, I'll tip you" or something? It was bad, man. When I heard that, it was like, ooh,
Right.
oof. I mean, maximum humility required. Like the moment that we think we're better than the people, and we can cancel the people, and we can talk shit about the people.
Let me throw some money to you.
Throw money at the people, like the class instincts. Yeah. I was just gonna close out, the creativity of our class. There was this brother in the streets, and one of the mainstream reporters sticks a mic into the crowd. But what about October 7th? And what about, he grabs the mic. What about October 8th? What about October 9th? What about October 10th? What about the last 75 years? The spontaneity, those class instincts. There's some things you can't teach. That's why the petty bourgeoisie, they try to take over everything, including the socialist movements and many of our expressions. It's not genuine. Doesn't align with the contradictions of our class, and one can feel it in their bones. George Jackson called it the perfect love and the perfect hatred. But the last thing I want to say, so I just got to get some rest, but I'm amazed, Carlos, again, philosophically and morally and historically. I got some good colleagues out there, and these are like some legit scholars. These are some of the biggest experts on post-colonial this and that, and for them to tell me that they, and of course they say, I of course disagree with your perspective. Why of course, but they've known me socially and professionally, because you got the Christmas party at the college. So my question is, you know me, you respect me, and I'm coming with all this, and I'm under so much attack, and you're so diametrically opposed to me. We're on polar opposite ideological, and it's a human question as well. It's humanism. It's philosophical. It's moral. It's spiritual. They don't stop to think that they just may be contradicting their own principles and their rhetoric. How are they sleeping at night? This is a society that, again, morally, spiritually, economically, bursting at the seams. There's studies everywhere. The polls everywhere that Trump's in the lead. And Carlos, what is our democratic decision? Lenin said every 4 years we come together to choose between Who will be our oppressor for the next 4 years? Well, now it's who will be the genocidaires? Who will be the Holocaust deniers for the next 4 years? I mean, what a perilous, perilous human moment. What a soulless moment. And, let's keep sticking together. Civil disobedience and supporting one another, and maximum, I think, unity. And like Carl, I think Carlos's tone is 100% correct. Like, we hope that these different entities can grow and learn, and I'm sure their intentions weren't bad. Like, they filming it and everything. Like, look at us. It's just a class question, and oof, the whiteness to them workers on the other end, the most down and out. We don't work at Starbucks for the heck of it. It's all there is for us. And now now you go to a CVS, there's not even workers there no more. And I just came from the Bay Area. I never seen so many of them cars with no drivers. This stuff is
That's crazy.
It's dystopian, but thanks, Carlos, for letting me hop on, and all
No,
power.
thank you so much for coming on, homie. This was excellent. I am going to continue the stream now after Danny heads out. I have a few more segments to go through, and I'll interact with the chat for a bit. I'm taking tomorrow off from streaming, so I'll be back Sunday. But I'm going to take a 5-minute break. Well, actually, a 6-minute break.
Can I do one thing before you roll the video?
Yeah.
Just a plug. Sunday night, 7:30-ish. We're doing something with Telly Seward. Whenever we finish with Telly Seward, Sarah Flounders, legend, really a legend. Like, Sarah Flounders was in Iraq in the most perilous moments, Yugoslavia, Libya. So it's going to be Workers' World International Action Center in the Bronx, Anti-War Coalition, represented by the comrade Richie Torres. So we'll be chilling, we'll be building. Sunday night, if you can join us. Thanks so much, Carlos. Peace, everybody. Bye-bye.